Welcome back. Well, in my previous video, I was talking about possibly getting my wife to accompany me, to join me on the program. And we'll see. We'll still see. I'm still trying to convince her. We'll see if she decides to come on. But I thought I would give a little bit of taste of how we met. So maybe we can talk more about that if she decides to join me here. But this is just a really quick introduction of her and how we met. So when I was living in a small town in Nagasaki Prefecture, and a prefecture is like a state from America. So I was living in a different city, but in Nagasaki Prefecture still. And I would go down to Nagasaki occasionally just, because it was a big city, to go see a movie or go shopping or something like that, just to do something interesting. And on, I think, one or two occasions, my wife actually, she didn't know me at the time, but she saw me a couple of times down in Nagasaki before actually, getting introduced to me. And I think she was sitting the one time she really remembers is when she was sitting in a Starbucks, and it's at a mall called Yume Saito in Nagasaki, Japan, if you're familiar. So you can go there today and see the Starbucks. It's got really big windows, and if you're sitting there, you can look out. There's a fairly large intersection with a few different crosswalks. So she saw me waiting there and crossed the street, probably going into the mall. So she didn't say anything, but she remembers seeing me there before we actually met. So I thought that was pretty cool. So she noticed me first. Yeah. Anyway, so maybe not that long after that, I think this is a couple of months after that, I was opening up a restaurant in Omura with a couple of people. And I was just helping to design it and, starting to do a little help, serving and other things like that. And she came to the Christmas party that we had there. And I thought that was really interesting. So she had maybe for no reason, but just I don't remember how she knew we were having a Christmas party, but we were advertising it somewhere, and she came with two of her friends that were doing, all three of them, a local radio show. And I remember when we first met, I was talking with her and trying to slyly, so the word sly just means kind of tricky, kind of sneakily trying to get her phone number, because her friends, the three of them, they were doing the radio show. This is about international topics and international food and other things that are related to just foreign countries or people coming from foreign countries. So they would have a radio show where they would talk about people traveling from a different country and have a person on their program and talking about that. So they invited me to be on the show because I had come to Japan. I was doing the teaching, but I was also teaching English, but I was also coming primarily to do Japanese gardening. So I was talking with them about that, and they were saying, yeah, you should be on the show. I said, fantastic. And I was talking to my then, or, I didn't know her at that point, but so I was talking with my wife, and I was saying, hey, what's your name? And she said, Tina. And I said, wow, that's an interesting name for a Japanese woman. I didn't think that was a real name. And so I said, no, what's your real name? What's your real name? And she said, Terumi. So Terumi. And I thought that was a really cool name. I'd never heard that name before, especially for Japanese people. So I said, oh, that's a really beautiful name. And so I was talking with her, but her friend was like, hey, let me get your phone number so we can contact with you about being on the program, and kind of getting in between this conversation that I was having with Teru. So I call her Teru for short. So when I was having this conversation with her, and it was really funny, I was trying to talk with her, but the other friend was like, hey, talk to me. And so I said, okay, I'll give you my contact information. But then I was finally able to contact her because my Japanese was not very good at that point. And it was actually pretty funny being on that program because I was really, really nervous about it. So I ended up, after the meeting, or after that party we had, I joined them on their radio show a couple of weeks later. And I remember after the radio show, I turned to her and I said, hey, do you want to go get some food? Would you like to get something to eat? And I think it was maybe 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And the radio show went pretty well. I was there for about maybe 15 minutes and talked with them about gardening and some of the interesting things I had seen about Japan, like going to a pet store and seeing a pet bat. And I think so the bat was hanging up in a little cage, and I poked his foot and just kind of petted his foot a little bit, and he peed on me. And I remember describing that story, and I just thought that was really, really odd. But anyway, so they're interesting pets in Japan. But so I asked her, hey, would you like to get some food? And she said, fantastic. And then, of course, she tells her other friends, like, hey, Drew wanted to get some food. And I was like, oh, no, like, I meant, going out with you so I could go get some food with you. And she thought that was, a little bit, I guess she didn't really think much of it, but I was like, oh, so I was sitting there. My Japanese is not very good. It's her and her two friends and the father of one of them. So I don't know how he came, but I think he was picking everyone up. And so he came and got everyone, and we were all sitting there, and I was just kind of sitting in the corner, and I had no opportunity really to talk with Teru at that time. So she was, enjoying the conversation, and I was just like, oh, well, all right, well, maybe I get a chance to do this another time. So I still had her phone number, and I remember after going to the train station, and this is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm going back home, so we're riding like in the car, and I get dropped off at the train station, and I'm riding back in the train after she's going home. So she's living near Nagasaki, and I have to take the train all the way back up where I was. And I remember saying to her, like, I was like hoping to have kind of a date, like actually go out and talk with you personally without having your friends there. And she was like, oh, I had no idea, So I said, and this is like the embarrassing thing. I mean, I felt like, I don't know why I said it at the time, but I was typing and I was like, why don't you come up to my place and I'll cook you dinner and I'll give you a massage. And I can't believe I wrote that to her. I was like very forward about it, and it's one of those things like you don't want to tell your mom. And here I am like telling the story in front of a bunch of people on YouTube. But anyway, so this is 10 years ago, and like I would have done it again though, why not? And so I think I was feeling very confident at the time. And I didn't really think like, well, if she thought that was weird or crazy, or maybe you're looking at that like, whoa, that's like kind of creepy, I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, she's like a nice girl, I thought, but I was like, I'm just going to try this anyway and see what happens. And of course, she wrote me back. She said, you sound kind of dangerous. I don't think so. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I blew the opportunity. And this is a great phrase. It just means you made a mistake or you messed something up. So to blow an opportunity. So I had an opportunity to try to take it a little bit more slowly, but then I blew it. So when people talk about making a mistake or, having some problem like that, like, I blew it. I blew it with her. So actually a couple days later, I got an email from her again, and I think I was, spending time with a friend of mine, and so I got an email from her that said like, hey, how are you? Like, thanks for the radio show, and was asking if I wanted to meet. And I said, yeah, sure. Where do you want to meet? Because I was really surprised. I thought when she said I was dangerous that she probably wouldn't want to meet me again. So she said, okay, like, can you meet me and my two friends from the radio show? They wanted to meet you and hang out with you again. And so I said, oh no, like this is going to be the same situation from before. I understand why she wants to have some friends of hers with her. But I said, look, I'm interested in you. And like, I'm going to be forward about that in the same way I was forward about, hey, come to my house and I'll give you a massage or whatever. Like, I actually didn't expect her to say yes, but I just wanted to say it, just to see what would happen. But I was talking with her, and I said, if you want to have your friends come with me, I'm not going to come. So I said, look, you guys go have fun, do what you want to do, like do your thing. And if you want to spend time with me, then let's do that. But I can't go with you, and it's just going to be another, like I was at the dinner with you. And then she was like, okay, fine. Like you and I can just go do something together. And so we actually met up, and we had a fantastic date, and we spent like the whole day traveling around the city and doing all kinds of stuff. And then the rest is history. And maybe we'll get to tell you the rest of that story, or different parts of it. But anyway, that's how we met. So I was working at a restaurant, and she came to the restaurant, and we had kind of hit it off there. And this is another great expression that just means to connect with someone, to hit it off. And you can use this in a personal expression with someone, or you can use it in a more professional thing, like I hit it off with my colleague at work, or other situations like that. Anyway, I don't want to give you too much information, but I just thought that was funny. Hopefully you don't think I'm too dangerous or crazy because I'm asking this woman or saying, hey, like I'll give you a massage. It would have been a good massage. I didn't say anything about oils and all that. Just, like a nice, friendly massage. Anyway, that's it for this video. We'll see where this journey continues, but I thought I would just tell you a little bit about that. And we'll see if maybe we can wrangle her, get her onto the program. Anyway, do make a comment down below if you would like to meet my wife and have, she's a fantastic woman, and we have a lot of fun raising our daughter as well. But hopefully the journey has been interesting so far. Well, that's the end of this video. If you have liked it, do click that like button, become a subscriber, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.